Another Spider-Man statue. And why not? You can never have enough Spider-Man statue. Is the plural of Spider-Man Spider-Mans or Spider-Men? Anyways, you can see this is the black suited Spider-Man. Or is it? Ooh. So when making Spider-Man related pieces, you gotta mix it up a little bit. What differentiates one Spider-Man statue from another? I've owned 4 or 5 different ones. Probably, you know what? Let's see how many. Alright, so I've owned quite a few. And one way, obviously, you can differentiate it is throw the black suit on there. But that's been done, especially with so many Venom statues out there. So how do you make the symbiote look different? Well, you can see what they did here. They made it look alive. I mean, for real. You have no idea how excited I am about this.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
As the Extreme channel is pushing towards 50,000 subscribers, these are just a few of the statues we are giving away on the journey there. If you want to know how to win one, stay tuned for later in the video. Hey, welcome to the Extreme channel. Today we're looking at a custom statue. That's a private unlicensed commission. Marvel didn't approve of this. It is a quarter scale symbioted Spider-Man. And as I said in the intro, this is probably one of the most unique Spider-Man statues I've ever seen. And as a spoiler, I love it. So this 1/4 scale will go awesome with all my Venom pieces that I'm keeping. Now when I ordered this, all I really looked at was, hey, it's a transforming Spider-Man. I need that in my collection. Let's buy it. But I am so excited because when I order a custom statue, I don't like to see in progress. Alright, so I just got a phone call and I was still recording it for members, but I had to stop it because it actually had some, not personal, some classified information on it. The hell was that? I'm not paranoid. And then I stopped the phone call and I proceeded to finish filming this entire review. Yeah, it wasn't recording, so I'm going to try and recreate it because it was fucking amazing. So anyway, as I'm saying, with a custom statue, if you want to symbiote it, this really looks like it's alive. It's a lot of unintentional and intentional things that we're going to look at during the review today, starting with concept. That's where this guy really shines. While we've seen plenty of pieces with symbiote-related stuff, and that's all over here, nothing really in a transformation other than some Venom transformation portraits. But check this out. On the bottom of wherever he's at, I like to think it's a graveyard. We'll talk about that in a second. You see a huge pool of the symbiote. Tendrils are starting to rise up. They're wrapping all around what's assumably a statue or a gravestone. And with that, there's these huge tendrils, but also some tiny, tiny symbiote-related stuff you're going to see closer with paint and sculpt. You see some vines growing on the side of the statue. To me, it looks like a Grim Reaper up front. In the back, you have some Easter eggs. You have a bunch of human skulls, and then some Venom portraits popping out. Now, this really doesn't make sense, but maybe Venom has taken control of the statue, and that's what's popping out, is symbiote of the Venom heads. Who knows? Maybe it's kind of a story or a foreboding about the suit actually moving towards the top and taking over Peter Parker. In my mind, for the first time. This is when the suit first encountered him. You see it swirling all over, and not only is it swirling all over and moving, but it's creating the black suit over his suit. And we're going to talk more about that in paint. But he's in a classic perched Spidey pose showing athleticism. And the suit is really taking over. I love what they did here. I think it's incredible. I love how it's half symbiote suit Spider-Man, half regular Spider-Man. And even the normal Spider-Man is quite a bit dark, which we'll talk more about in paint. But I think the concept's a 5 out of 5. I am really impressed. Now, what didn't impress me was the assembly of this bitch. It was very difficult to assemble. There's probably about 20 to 30 little and big symbiote pieces. Now, thankfully, with custom statues, sometimes they actually do an assembly video, but they always suck. So while I used that, it still was very difficult to put together. Check it out. One box, very manageable. Now, the top had an art box. I assume the rest did, and it was probably amazing. So if that's what gets your jollies off, this video isn't for you. Standard custom black foam and straps. It was 2 different layers. Here is the first layer. The majority of the pieces were those symbiote pieces I discussed. Now on the top layer, that's what it mostly had. Bottom layer had the base, and then a lot of the symbiote pieces were actually in bags, as you can see right here. Now, while it was difficult to put together, everything fit. There are a few small seam lines on the bottom on some of the big tendrils. Nothing to lose sleep over by any means. You can see right here. But what really amazed me is nothing fell out. I was shocked that nothing fell out. Usually when you have a piece like this, especially the small ones, they will be difficult to stay in. Everything went in really well, and as you see, nothing is falling out. I am really, really impressed by that. Now, the way it's displayed now is the only way to display it. If you remove the symbiote stuff, it has some nasty keyholes. There are no switch out options. I don't think there needs to be, but it would have been cool to have some. Another big advantage of this, it doesn't have a big footprint. So he's 1/4 scale, meaning 4 times smaller than a real-life version, and it's very displayable. So it's about 13 inches wide. Yes, I did measure it. I just didn't record it. It's about 11 inches deep, a little less than that. Then the tallest part is just under 24 inches, so it fits in most cases like a Maja case behind me. And then also you could display smaller statues in front of it and still get the full angst of Spidey. So the displayability is very, very strong on this. So for those reasons, I think I have to give the design a 5 out of 5, despite the fact there's no switch out options. But very complicated design. They pulled it off. It's very displayable, so well done. Now, paint and sculpt. There's some Easter eggs that make it amazing, and there's some normal stuff that they just did really good. Take a look. When it comes to the blacks or the symbiote piece, really interesting paint. And the lighting really affects it as well, but you can also say that it's pretty interesting choices they made about the suit. So let's just start up there. See how the suit, it's actually quite a bit darker. It's coming off a lot brighter on camera, but it's very, very dark. Probably the darkest one I've ever seen. Obviously, I'm not talking about the black part, which we'll get to in a second. But I like it. It's almost like the transformation is happening from within. But they did a really great job on the suit. Texturized the entire thing, which isn't always typical, but the spider symbol is protruding on the back. Looks great. Very clean paint, as you can see. And the sculpt on the suit is great. So it's still skin tight, but you see the wrinkles and folds, and it really accentuates the muscles. So they did a really nice job. Now what's interesting on the symbiote side, it's like this really light black. And I know that's hard to say. Let's look at the eye really quick. Kind of hard to tell, but there you can see on the outside, it's not a blue hue, it's just kind of a dark hue. Where Venom, and I know this isn't Venom, but also look at this right here. You can still see some red underneath it. It's almost like it's translucent, and you can see the suit underneath the black. That is crazy good. I don't know how they did that. Well, I know how they did it. They painted the whole thing red and then painted the black on top of it. So I don't think this was intentional, but my God, it's cool. So really great job on that part of it. Now look at all the tendrils. They did add a blue hint to them, so you can kind of differentiate them from the suit, and I think that's what makes it look alive. And it's not that flat color either, so I think that's really cool. And how it, some of those that are coming out, they sculpted them in so that they actually flow with the ones that are sculpted onto them. I think that was really clever. By the way, Spidey symbol, you can see the black one there, and how the white one, and how it's taken over the red. That's awesome. Base, really, really dark. So first, the tendrils and symbiotes going everywhere. I think they look fine regarding the paint. It's not my favorite, but I don't dislike it. But the sculpt looks great. I like, they're a little thicker than you normally see, but I think for breakage purposes, that was smart like we talked about. And then the statue itself has this ivy coming off these branches that look great. It almost gives it that alive effect, like it's moving. The statue itself looks like it's kind of green moss, so it's kind of the Grim Reaper here, and then you can see the symbiote all over that. Look at that, it's attacking everywhere. And it has more of a moist effect down there. The lighting really helps accentuate that. But what's really cool is the Easter eggs on the back. First, on the back you have skulls everywhere, and different types of skulls. And it's covered in the green moss and the faded paint, and of course the tendrils going everywhere. But then look at those Venom portraits. Now, it doesn't make sense logically like we talked about it, but it doesn't take away from the fact that that is just badass. I love those Easter eggs. I think it's awesome. So much detail on the back. How they embedded the symbiote on the sculpt of this statue looks fantastic. I am really impressed with this one. So many hidden cool things. Definitely unique. They definitely knocked it out of the park. Faux show. Given the fact that they did such cool things with the symbiote, with the suit, especially on the paint, and then I do like what they did on the base, I think the paint's a 5 out of 5. The normal parts are very clean, and then it's exceptional what they did. Sculpt, I'm kind of veering between a 4 and a 5, just because there's so much different stuff going on, and everything going on they did really well. So I think I do have to say a 5 out of 5 as well. And I'm really worried that this particular statue, I think I've given it all 5 scores. So is it worth it? Is it going to get a 5 in value? You know, I don't know. The way I gauge value is a 3 out of 5 is kind of, if I sold it, I'd get my money back. 4 out of 5, I'd make a profit. 5 out of 5, I'd make a big profit. Well, they made 100 of these, which is a lot for a custom statue. Retail is also $850, but then shipping can be anywhere from $200 to $400 depending on your shipping method and where you're at in the world. So you're like $1,100, $1,200 into this, and then if you resold it, another $100 for shipping. While I think this is one of the coolest Spider-Man statues out there, I think I could get my money back, but that's probably about it. I couldn't make a huge profit on it, though I have no desire to because I'm going to keep it. So I think the value is just a 3 out of 5, which is good, but not amazing. Is it amazing enough to have the X Factor, though? You know, I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think this is my favorite Spider-Man statue. I really, really do. So because of that, it is a 5 out of 5 statue for me. What's great about that is I'm actually selling my entire Spider-Man collection unless it's Venom related. I think this falls into Venom related. So I can justify in my head, in my own weird rules, keeping it. What weird rules do you have in your own head? Let me know in the comments below what weird rules you have in your own head. I love to interact with you guys. I read every single comment. And you could win a statue. We will be giving all of these statues away, plus additional ones at every 5,000 subscriber milestone. To win one of these statues, all you have to do is make sure you've liked this video, you've subscribed to the channel, you've hit that bell notification, and then just drop a comment below. Every 5,000 subscriber milestone, we are going to do a random drawing and pick a random comment and give one of these statues away, plus some additional ones I'm not showing right now. The more videos you comment on, the higher your chances are to win. Thanks guys for tuning in. I hated shooting this twice, but give me a like button because I shot it twice for you. I really appreciate it. Most of you haven't subscribed. Please subscribe. It's free. It's easy. Makes me feel better about myself. Please. And it's like I'm begging. Did that last night in the bedroom.